welcome to the Stretch and Revive class again. This will probably be our last class together, so I've got some stretches that are hopefully going to help relax the whole body and be a good finish to the sessions. So first up, we're going to do some neck exercises. So we're going to start off with a really gentle roll of the neck. Might be good to close down the eyes and just take some breaths while we're at it. Feel each range of motion as you go. Feel the muscles and how they're pulling, and maybe they might be a bit tight. Maybe they might be okay, hopefully. Keep breathing. You might want to be able to make the circles a bit bigger. And reverse, going the other way. Oh, it's the end of the year, it's the Christmas period, everyone's so busy. So these stretches are really good to help calm you down, get the muscles moving, get some length, reduce some tension. Now if the rotations are feeling okay, we're going to come up and we're going to do some gentle, just up and down. Make sure you're doing this with integrity. You're not just throwing your head around. Feel the stretch in the muscles. One more. And looking side to side. So starting really gently. Don't want you to go too far, but when you feel like the stretch is helping a bit, you can start to look a bit farther behind you. It's a Thursday today, so it's almost Friday. Pretty happy about that. One more, up to the side, and shake it off. Okay, we're going to place one hand underneath our leg. Other hand is going to come to our head, and we're just going to give the upper traps a nice stretch. So pulling away, you might want to just lean over until you get that tension through your arm. And you might be able to feel it a bit more through these upper trap muscles. So this is a good one if you have any kind of neck pain, just to lengthen through, because these muscles can get tight if you're typing all day or if you're a bit tense. Having the arm underneath the leg also helps to just kind of anchor the other side to get more of a stretch. Now we're going to try by looking down and pulling in the same direction. You should feel the stretch through just a different part of your traps. If you're not sure, these muscles here are called traps, or upper trapezium, which is trapezius muscle. So just looking down ever so slightly and just breathe. Breathe into the stretch. And then lastly, looking up, just ever so slightly, not too much, and just pulling again, really gently. See, I'm not really looking up, I'm kind of looking straight on, but it's up there. I feel like having a nap with all my eyes closed. And relax. Taking that arm out, changing sides. First of all, just looking neutral, holding onto the head, finding that tension through the arm, and just gently giving it a pull. Feeling the stretch through the upper traps. Try and just let your shoulders drop. Try not to hold any tension in there while you're doing this stretch. Take a big deep breath in, and as you breathe out, imagine that muscle just relaxing and getting a bit longer. Now we're going to look down and give it a little bit of a pull. You might feel it through the back of your upper traps, more so than the front. I don't know if you can see, but these muscles here are very tight on me. You can play the guitar with them. And looking up just ever so slightly and just pulling off. Big deep breaths. And relax. Oh, shake it off, give your shoulders a bit of a roll, maybe just rolling the wrists. We're going to come now onto our hands and knees. This one, no shoes if you can, because we're going to do a bit of a weird stretch. So having our toes up, if you can, if this is comfortable. If it's not, then just relax and sit out of this stretch. We're going to spread our knees as wide as the mat. I want you feeling the stretch through your foot soles. So it'll feel a bit funny, it might feel a bit tight. And we're going to come forward. We're going to place one hand at a time opposite. So if you can see, I've got my fingers pointing towards my toes. And in this stretch, I want you to kind of come back and try and sit on your feet. Now if you're a bit tight, you might want to come a bit closer. You might not be able to, I know, I can see I can't. And we're just going to hold that, our arms straight, and you should feel this stretch through your biceps. And if you're all the way back onto your toes, you might feel it through the bottom of your feet as well. If the toes are really uncomfortable and you're just like, oh, the stretch isn't working for me, get rid of them and just sit back on your heels instead. You might find that you're able to do this a bit nicer. The toes are just a little bit extra if you have the flexibility, which as you can see, I don't. So you should feel this through your wrists as well. But hopefully it's the forearm muscles here and the biceps here that are getting the benefits of the stretch. Might be best not to put too much weight on your wrists if you can. Another big deep breath. And relax. Jumping back up, sitting down, and placing our feet in front of us. If your wrists are a bit like, oh, that wasn't very nice, just give them a bit of a roll, get some blood moving. They just need to be warmed up. Okay, so now sitting with our legs both forward, we're going to grab one foot, and again this is another one, only if it's comfortable. We've done this stretch before. We're going to place that foot very close next to our bottom. If you can get it like kind of right in there, that would be best. Hopefully no pain. If there is, then please stop. And what we're going to do is just take our hands behind our body and just lean back. So this stretch is designed to stretch through that quad muscle at the top of that leg that's bent, as well as our hip flexors. And the lower you lean back, the more you're going to feel it. Now the foot ideally underneath the ankle, but if that's giving you a bit of grief, you can kind of rotate it outwards a little bit just to help, whatever feels good. So just leaning back here. If it's too hard on your elbows and you're like, oh no, that's not doing it for me, come back onto your hands. If you need to make small adjustments, then do. If you you ever rolled your ankle before and you're probably like, oh, this hurts, because that's what my foot is doing. Whatever feels good. If your foot needs to come out, it's not ideal, but if that's what works for you to stretch that quad, keep breathing. Feel that tightness. If you can, this is something I'm not going to show you, but if you can lay your back on the floor, that is the most stretching, so the advanced. Otherwise, keep breathing. Another big deep breath. And coming up, releasing back to the front. Legs back together, and we're just going to slide our hands down our legs. Chin to chest if you can. Reaching for your toes if you can't get your toes, and holding onto those shins or knees, wherever is comfortable. We're just going to hold. So a nice forward folding stretch. So you should feel this one through maybe your hammies, maybe your back, maybe your neck, hopefully not your neck. Chin to chest is important, giving the spine a lot of length. So letting those vertebrae calm apart and give some tension release. Sometimes sitting all day or standing all day can compress them, make your spine all angry. And coming up, release. Bringing those feet together. We're kind of moving through in a circular motion. So feet together, and what we're going to do is holding onto the bottoms of the edges of our feet, and we're going to try and get our knees down. Lower you can go, the better. If you want, you can forward fold and just give them a bit of a push with the elbows. But we're going to hold here. We're going to keep holding until we've done 30 seconds. Make sure you breathe and maybe close the eyes. Stretching the muscles isn't all about movement. Sometimes it's up here. It's what the brain's doing. It's telling these muscles to be tight. So we need to lock onto them and try and sway that. Say, no, I want it to be loose. Doesn't always work, unfortunately, but we can try. Meditation has a very good benefit. And relaxing, placing both feet in front, and we're going to bring off our other leg now. Feet underneath, or ankle on top of under heel, and if you can, having this leg still active, like don't just let it kind of fall, still have the muscles on top locked on, the feet flexed. We're just going to lean back as far as you feel comfortable. Feel the stretch through the ankle, through the top of the thigh. Again, if that foot being straight is just not working for you, maybe just bring it off to the side. As long as our leg is relatively in this plane, we'll be fine to get the stretch. So leaning down as far as you feel comfortable. If elbows are where you're at today, then that's great. My leg is not liking this, but let's see how we go. If you're on the floor and your head's resting, I envy you. You must have very loose quads in a good way. If you really kind of focus on the area that's being stretched, you can kind of start to feel the fibers release. It takes about 30 seconds for it to finally let go. Another big deep breath. and relax. Coming up very slowly, bringing that leg back in front. Give those ankles a bit of a roll. Hopefully feeling pretty good now. These muscles can get quite tight. We're going to face the chair. I didn't mention this, but chair would be good. If you don't have one, we can just use the floor, but we're going to start off with a little chest stretch that'll get us into our next lot of stretches. So knees can be wide or together, and we're going to pretty much do a child's pose, but with the chair just helping extend the reach and also help to stretch through the chest. So try and drop the head if you can. Have the arms active and holding. You should feel that stretch through the chest, through the armpits. Chest muscles are a tricky one. We want to keep them loose because if they're tight, sometimes it can give us neck pain, unfortunately. Keep breathing here. This is the only stretch we need a chair, so that's why I didn't mention it, but you won't need it after this one. And coming up onto all fours, we can push that chair away now. And in all fours, we're just going to do the opposite side stretch. So a little cow pose, tucking that chin into the chest, taking a few deep breaths. Really try and focus on breathing in deeply and trying to tuck that chin in and get as much length through your thoracic spine as possible. And coming up and doing the opposite, a cat stretch. Try and squeeze those shoulder blades together, looking up if you can, and back to the cow. And we're just going to cycle through these for the next few breaths. Another class almost done. Not bad for a Thursday. And finding that neutral, what we're going to do is place our knees wide, so you might be able to get them wider than the mat. We're going to do a little adductor stretch now, so we've done this one before. In our inner thighs, we're going to come down to our elbows, come so that your knees are in line with your hips, and we're just kind of going to let our knees slide out so that we can feel a stretch through those groin muscles. So let gravity do the work if you can. Let it slide. Don't go too far. Don't want any pulled muscles. And just kind of hold this position. Looks a bit funny, doesn't it? Big deep breaths. Try and do 30 seconds of this one. And coming back, just kind of one at a time, heel those knees back together. Just bring them as wide as the mat this time and toes together, and we're just going to send our hips back. And we're going to keep our hands forward and do a child's pose. So sitting as far back as you can, reaching your fingers as far ahead as you can. And just resting your head on the mat. Take some big deep breaths. Expand the rib cage. And we're going to just reach over to one side with both hands, grabbing onto one hand with the other and pulling away. So you should feel this stretch through
the meeting has ended because it had only one participant for the last 30 minutes.
That was scary. Holding on, stretching through the side body. Pull away to make the stretch a bit more if you can. And over to the other side. Taking yourself over and just reaching and pulling away. This is a great stretch for your lats. And coming back to the middle, up onto all fours, and finding your way to sitting again. So we have our feet up in front of us. Get some movement through your shoulders. Should be feeling pretty good. Now we're going to do a new stretch now. So picking up one leg, we're going to hug it with the opposite side, and we're going to just do a really gentle twist. So placing those other fingers behind your body and twisting. So this is the first part of the new stretch. We've done this one before, but we haven't done the next part. And coming back to the center, this time we're going to grab the other hand opposite to the leg that's out straight. And what we're going to do is reach forward. So this hand's just kind of chilling wherever it feels comfortable. Reach forward, and if you can, hold on to the shin, if it's the knee, or if you're wanting to, give it an extra bit of a go, holding on to the outside of that foot. Now this should be pretty difficult, so if you're getting to the foot, you're doing very well. If you want to see me from the side, I've got my hand just kind of out the back there, reaching for that foot. And I've also got the stretch going through my side body. Try to keep that other leg that's bent quite inwards. Don't let it kind of fall out too much. If the foot is a bit too much to hold on to and you're just thinking, oh, this is too painful, then hold on to that shin. Same deal. Another deep breath. And relax. Oh, let that leg go. Picking up that other leg now, opposite arm, other arm to the back of ourselves, and we're just going to do a real gentle twist. Almost done for today. If your twist is a lot more than this, that's probably likely. Everyone has different flexibility levels. And coming back, now this time this arm just goes to the back of our body. We're going to take our other arm, my left, don't know which one you're on, and we're going to try and reach for the outside of that foot while keeping this leg still quite in the midline, and just kind of folding our head. It should be a good stretch for your hammies, for your side body, for your back. Big deep breaths. And coming back, both feet out wide now. Find yourself on your mat. We're just going to lay down and do the final stretch. Picking up one knee, squeezing that knee just quickly, finding our ankle to our other knee. And we're just going to do a little glute stretch to start off with. So holding onto that leg that was underneath and just pull the ankle towards you. So this is a really good glute stretch. Essentially, this leg that's on the bottom is pushing on that calf / shin, and it's stretching through those inner glutes. And letting that bottom leg go, keeping this one up top. We're going to bring it over to the side very gently and do a little twist stretch. Now both arms go out wide, and we're just going to look to the opposite side of where our knee is going. Not here for long. And coming back and letting that leg go. Now the other leg, so picking that one up, finding ankle to knee and looping through the hole, holding onto that bottom leg and pulling our ankle towards our face. Isn't stretching great? So good for you. And letting that bottom leg go with the top leg, we're just going to bring it over our body and do a nice little twist stretch. Arms are going to go out wide, and we're just going to look to the other side. Remember trying to keep both shoulders on the floor. And coming back to midline and sitting up. And that is us done for today. Thank you guys. I have had an absolute pleasure taking this class, and I must say it's been so beneficial to me as well, and I hope you've all enjoyed it. So this will be our last one, and I will hopefully see you again next year when I run a few more sessions. So thank you very much. See you later.